So, we have seen the page number 6060. We have to begin the last paragraph. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, first adhyaya, 60th page, the last paragraph. What we are doing is just establishing one simple principle. When we give an example, it is just to study a principle. Once the principle is established, then it can be extended. The principle that is being studied here is that anything that is created, even before it is created, it was very much there in the potential state. Anything that is possible to be created is never non-existent, it is always present, either as a manifest thing or as a possibility, a potential state. The potential state of a thing is called Shakti. Shakti means potential. And the manifest state of a thing is called Vyakti. Vyakti. That is why an individual is called a Vyakti. He is a Vyakti. When a person is asleep, he is Shakti. Means he is there but in a potential state. It's like a bird in the nest. He is there unmanifest. So this is the principle that we are trying to establish. The Bhashyakara is spending so much of time just to establish a principle that a creation is never non-existent. If the creation is never non-existent, then the source also is never non-existent, then the Shunyavada is out. You can't arrive at non-existence. You can't arrive at total absence. Neither there is partial absence, nor there is total absence. There is no such a thing called absence. Therefore, the idea of absence is an error in thinking. Kalpana. Like you say, my friend who used to be alive, he is absent, now he is non-existent, he is dead and gone. You say, even to refer to his own absence, you have to remember his prior presence. Without the presence, you can't refer to absence. Presence can be felt. You can perceive presence without thinking of its absence, but you can't think of absence without thinking of presence. Bhava apeksham abhavaha. Bhava apeksha abhava. Absence is rooted in the presence. You can't think of absence without thinking of presence. Bahut badi baat hai ji. Think about it seriously. The very idea of absence is an error in thinking. Why? Because you can never come across absence. I ask a question, if you say absence, absence of what? Then you have to name it. And when you can name it, if it is available for being named, then it is not absent, it is present. If you say it was but is not, I say if it was and is not, now it must be in the unmanifest state. the body is burned to ashes, it is there in the form of the ashes. The matter is there. It cannot become absent. It can't become zero. Just as the body cannot become zero, within the waking state the body is burnt to ashes, now it is there in the form of the ashes, or supposing if the ashes are thrown into Ganga, it is there in the Ganga in some form. Matter cannot be destroyed. Now in the same manner, the same matter when it has a laya in the deep sleep state, then again it is not abhava, it is in the unmanifest state. बहुत बड़ी बात है जी. Here I want you to, supposing you discover that it is false, and still it is bhava as the truth. You see? Either it is there in the form of the manifest wave. When the wave resolves, it is there in the form of the unmanifest wave. Supposing when I discover the wave is water, it is there as water. You cannot arrive at absence. This is the thing that is going to be established. There is no such a thing called absence. The entire universe is bhava rupam, not abhava rupam. The entire existence is bhava rupam, presence. So everything is in the form of presence. The universe is. As an individual, I am in sleep also. From one point of view, the jiva is as unmanifest, and from another point of view, you are as sakshi. In the waking also you are as the sakshi, in the dream you are as the sakshi, in the sleep also you are as the sakshi. Can you stand as absent? Supposing you stand as absent, means you are, and you can't experience, you should be there even to experience your own absence anyway. Otherwise, how do you know you are not there? First come to the class just to hear this one statement. You have spent the time very well. Even to feel your own absence, supposing you conclude your absence, even to prove that absence, you should be there. Your absence, nobody else can prove. Your presence, nobody else can feel. Your absence also, nobody else can. Your presence is felt by you. And if you think you become absent, even to feel that absence, you should be there. And if you are there to feel your absence, then you are not absent. What a logical riddle, you know, mind-boggling riddle. To prove your absence, you should be there to feel it. Baba. That means what? You can never have absence. Before the birth I was not. After the fall of the body I will not be. It is not an experience. It is an imagination. It is an error in thinking. Prior, before my पहले नहीं था, बाद में भी मैं नहीं रहूंगा, is a mental error. Is not? Absence is never an experience. Only presence is an experience. Absence is a conclusion. It's a dhyasa, please. It's a kalpana. When it comes to anubhava, it pertains always to presence. Therefore, bhavam never alternates with abhavam. Bhavam is the satyam, abhava is mithya. There is satya mithya bhava between bhava and abhava. Bhava and abhava are not like raga dvesha. बहुत बड़ी बात है जी. Bhava, presence and absence are not like and dislike. Like and dislike alternate each other. They are dvandva. Dvandva. People can only understand the Dvandvas, ji, and they think they are great philosophers. Ji. When a person can say, like replaces dislike, dislike replaces like, kindness replaces cruelty, cruelty replaces kindness, if he can just articulate a few words, then he thinks he's a big philosopher. In South India, there was a mother, a 40-year-old mother. And she had a son who was 20-year-old, 19 years old. And she would tell everybody, my son is so intelligent. He has not even completed 19 years. He is not even touched 20. He is so brilliant. मम्मी को मम्मी कहते हैं, पापा को पापा कहते हैं, दादी को दादी कहते हैं, दादा को दादा कहते हैं, कितना इंटेलिजेंट. Are you able to follow? So if a person calls mummy, mummy, papa, papa, dada, dada, you think he is a great intelligent, highly intelligent. Similarly, human beings, if they know the pairs of opposites, they think great philosophers. Kuch bhi nahi ji. If a person can understand that like and dislike alternate each other, they alternate each other. Success and failure alternate each other, but bhava and abhava do not alternate each other. You have the makings of a thinker. You have the makings of a thinker. If you can understand, presence and absence do not replace each other, do not alternate each other, they don't follow each other. पहले presence, उसके बाद absence, उसके बाद presence, उसके बाद ऐसा नहीं होगा. Likes and dislikes तो एक के बाद एक आते हैं. In the morning you like something, in the evening you dislike something, next morning again you like, next evening again you dislike, now you like, now you dislike, now you like, now you dislike. But you can't say, now I am present, now I am absent, now I am present, now I am absent. Presence is never replaced by absence. Absence is not another reality. Absence is a conclusion. Presence is the truth. Our eternal presence is the truth. And this conclusion, previously I was not, later on also I will not be, now I am, is only a I am is an experience, I was not is a conclusion. There are a lot of things deep. And therefore, I don't want to really go into a lot of things, a lot of beautiful details are there. But I would like you to concentrate on this one point, that creation, anything that is created was there even before it was created. It was there. The universe, even before it appears, it was there in the seed form. In the seed form. Similarly, when a man is born, even before he was born, he was there in the seed form, the unmanifest form. And it becomes manifest. I'll give you a very easily understandable example. A literate person becomes a scholar. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he was just illiterate. Is it not? He was just illiterate. He was not able to articulate even the alphabet properly. A, B, he used to say something, something, something. Papa. and now 15 years after is a great scholar. Where from did that scholarship come? You can't say the non-existent scholarship became existent. No, the unmanifest scholarship became manifest. It was there in the potential state. Man had the potential to become scholar. He had the potential to become a graduate. He had the potential to become a postgraduate, a scholar. Even a scientist, even before he went to school, to become a scientist was there. Therefore, everything goes on unfolding. Everything goes, the manifest goes on unfolding. Unfolding. Thus, there is no abhava at all. Either it is manifestly present or unmanifestly present. Anyway, now I have given a lot of, it's a very important thing. We fear post-absence. We fear I won't be there. Why doesn't one fear the prior absence? Before the birth also, one thinks I was not there. One is called prior absence, the other is called post-absence. Why does man always fear post-absence, not prior absence? This is also something, wonder. Why doesn't man fear the prior absence? Then he may say, जो हो गया, आगे के बारे में. ऐसा थोड़ी है. Fear, every fear cannot frighten because there is no such a thing called absence. If it is there as a fact, if absence were true, whatever be the absence, it would frighten me. Please pick up this point. If absence were a fact, then every absence would frighten me. Just as the post-absence frightens me, even prior absence should frighten me. But the prior absence doesn't frighten me, only the post-absence frightens me. Why? Why? Because the only answer that I have is absence is not a fact, it is an error. If it is a fact, it would frighten. Even prior absence, frighten. Not only prior. Thus we have 4 kinds of absence, Ji. Now let me start the topic, new topic. In Sanskrit, in English first I say, prior absence. In Sanskrit it is called pragabhava. Prag means prior. Abhava means absence. Pragabhava. And when you don't do any vicheda, just combine and say, rhyme it without a break. It is called pragabhava. You don't have to say prak abhava. That's how you should understand it. But when you say pragabhava, that sounds very nice. Pragabhava. All Sanskrit must be rhymed without break. Should be rhymed without break. Om bhurvur swaha tat savitur varenyam bhargo bhargaha devasya dhimahi dhiyaha yaha naha prachodayat. This is not rhyming. It should be rhyme. Tat savitur varenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo na prachodayat. When you break the rhyming, then it sounds funny. Similarly, prak abhava, nahi? Pragabhava. The post absence, after I die, then supposing I think of absence, that is called pradvamsa abhava. Pot was absent before it was created. One thinks, before the pot was born, it was not there. That thinking that it was not there is called pragabhava. And once you break the pot is not there. It is called pradvamsa bhava. There is a lot to understand about these four things, concentrating. What do we lose? We only become, your faculties open up, your capacity to understand the truth becomes strengthened. Yes, education strengthens your capacity to understand the truth. It is not an ordinary thing. You see, analysis strengthens your capacity to understand. The other abhava is anyonya bhava. Anyonya bhava means mutual absence. Pot is not there in the mat and mat is not there in the pot. Pot is not mat, mat is not pot. Pot is potness, pot is absent in the mat. Mat means, mat. Or the chairness is absent in the table and the tableness is absent in the chair. This mutual absence is what is called anyonya abhava. Anyonya means mutual in Sanskrit. Anyonya means each other, mutual. Then the fourth abhava is called atyanta abhava, total absence. Like Manushya Shrunga. Manushya Shrunga was absent before, as absent now, is absent later. This is called atyanta abhava. Whereas pot has only prior absence, post absence, but the present presence. Abhi to hai. The pot was not there before and pot will not be there later on. But pot is very much there now. So that it was not there, its prior absence is called pragabhava, its later absence is called pradvamsa abhava, and mutual absence is called anyonya abhava, and the total absence is called atyanta abhava. Now we are going to analyze, just for a class or two classes, we are going to analyze, even though there are four words called ragabhava, pradvamsa bhava, etc., but don't think they are also real absence. They are kalpanas. They are all mental kalpana. Because you can't think of the absence without the presence. All absence is rooted in the presence. Presence is a fact and the absence of it, presence of it is a fact, absence of it is an error. It is somehow kalpana. Veda never says presence and absence. It always says manifest presence, unmanifest presence, eternal presence. Yaji, are you able to follow? The universe has manifest presence, unmanifest presence, and the source, eternal presence. Where is the absence? For Veda, there is only presence, presence. Jiva has, as a waker, we have manifest presence. As deep sleepers, we have, as jivas, as individuals, we have unmanifest presence. And as awareness, we have eternal presence. Creation has now manifest presence, now unmanifest presence, whereas the source of the creation has eternal presence. There is only presence, presence, presence. Whereas in the society, what do? We think in terms of presence and absence. That means our thinking is not true to Shabda Pramana. Without correcting that thinking, can we really go into Vedanta? Hare Rama. Because our day-to-day thinking is contrary to the Shastra. Our day-to-day thinking is contrary to Shastra. We can't carry that contrary. So when we enter the Vedanta, we should try to rectify that contrary thinking. That is all what is being done by Bhagavan. He says, apicha. For that, now let us begin the paragraph. Apicha chaturvidhanam, 4 kinds. Abhavanam, 4 kinds of absence. Ghatasya, ghatka. A pot has 4 kinds of absence. A pot may not have 4 kinds of abhava, but the pot has 3 kinds of abhava. Pragabhava, pradvamsa bhava and itaretara bhava, but because it is present for the time being, it doesn't have atyanta abhava. That which cannot even be created forever is called atyanta abhava, like man's pot. Therefore now here it says, sir, these 4 kinds of abhava, chaturvidhanam abhavanam ghatasya itaretara abhavaha. For example, the mutual absence. Ghatad anyaha drishtaha. The absence of the pot is not the nature of the pot. The absence of the pot is something other than the pot, is a kalpana. Ghatadayaha drishta, ghatat anyaha drishtaha, yata ghatabhavaha patadireva. Pata means, a mat. Ghata means a pot. Be clear about this. So I will be using the Sanskrit words. Pot is not a mat. So in the mat there is no potness. So you can look at the mat and say, you can say it is a mat in which there is no potness. So now you can say it is absence of pot. Because there is no potness in the mat, I can look at the mat and say absence of pot. But absence of pot is my kalpana, but what I am seeing is presence of mat. What I am seeing is not absence of pot. What I am seeing is presence of mat. Therefore, that it is presence is a fact, and that it is absence of pot is a kalpana, is a conclusion. I will give you another example. Now, cow and a horse. Cow is only a cow. I can call it as a non-horse. Non-horse means what? Absence of horse. You have to think very fast. I look at a cow and call it a non-horse. Non-horse means absence of horse. Describing the cow as Absence of horse is my kalpana, because I am not seeing any absence of horse. I am only seeing presence of cow. Presence of cow. Therefore, looking at the presence of the cow, if I call it as absence of horse, it is my mental kalpana. Therefore, mutual absence is a mental kalpana, easily comprehensible error. Mutual absence is understandable very easily as an error. I can't see absence, I am always seeing present. Easy way of understanding. I can't see absence of what? I can see only present. Because the senses Bhagavan has created, the eyes are created to see the presence of things. Ears, Bhagavan has created the ears to hear the presence of sound, not absence of sound. The taste buds have been given to us to taste the presence of taste, not the absence. So eyes are given to us in order to see what is present. Therefore, when I look at the table or when I look at a cow, I am only seeing the presence of the cow. But supposing I describe it as absence of a horse, it is my mental imagination. It is not a fact. It is purely a mental imagination. Purely a mental error. A wrong thinking is what is called kalpana. Seeing the presence of the cow, and then I am saying it is a non-horse, it is a wrong expression. Call it presence of cow, don't call it absence of horse. Therefore, we impose the thought of absence in presence. Presence is a fact, absence is a thought. Is only a thought. Presence is, it's very, very beautiful. I am going to stretch it a little, I know, even if you feel a little uncomfortable, but I have to make myself comfortable at your expense. Aji, I am not Satya Harishchandra, and I have to think only about your comfort, ji. I should think about my comfort also. It is only when I make you feel uncomfortable in your mind, I feel comfortable. And it is not cruelty, because I can make you feel really uncomfortable when I take you to depths. Yes. That is Shastra. If I have only a thought of something without there being something, it is just kalpana. Without there being anything. But there is presence, that is a different thing. There is no absence. Absence nahi, but still I have a thought of absence, it's a kalpana. But is it done in emptiness? No, it is done in the presence. That's a different matter. And therefore, I am concluding one first thought. Mutual absence is understandable very easily as a kalpana. Yatha ghata bhavaha patadireva na ghata swarupameva. Up to that. The prior absence of the pot is not the nature of the pot. The post absence of the pot is not the nature of the pot. The mutual absence of the pot is not the nature of the pot. The nature of the pot is, it is present, not absence. no object enjoys the nature of being absent. Every object enjoys the nature of being present, either manifestly present or unmanifestly present. It may be false in relation to the Brahman, that's a different matter. I can say wave is manifestly present, wave is unmanifestly present, but I can't say wave is not. I can say wave is water, but I can't say wave is not. You see, I am going to repeat 3 sentences. Wave is manifestly present, wave is unmanifestly present, wave is eternally present as water. You can only talk of the wave only in terms of presence. You can't talk about the wave in terms of absence. If you talk about the wave in terms of absence, you have gone wrong in your thinking. And when they went wrong in their thinking, it became Shunyavada, Buddhism. Yes. When you stray from the right, then you become Buddhism. It may be Buddhism or any other Ism, I am not interested in taking the names, but when you go wrong and you create another school of thought. Next sentence, ji. Nacha ghata bhavaha sanpataha abhavatmakaha. Even though I look at the pata, the mat, what I am seeing is the presence of the mat, but then supposing I call it as a hair splitter. Hair splitter means, entertaining redundant thoughts. Where there is no need to probe, you probe. That is called splitting hair, splitting hairs. It is very unnecessary. Instead of calling the mat a mat, I call it as absence of pot. This is called splitting hair. Do you know why all the Mahatmas have munda? Nahi samajh mein aaya? So that they don't waste time splitting hair. Yes. That is why Shastra says have munda. So that you don't have to split hair or pull hair. Pulling hair is pain for the body. Splitting hair is pain for the mind. Therefore, every 15 days have munda. That is why our Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, is also called Mundaka Upanishad, because it stops you from splitting hair and see what is self-evident. It stops you from splitting hair and makes you see the self-evident. Until you see the self-evident, you keep splitting hair. Imagine karte रहते हैं about the truth. Yes. Therefore here he says, sir, when you see the presence of the mat, if you call it the presence of mat, you are being right. If you call it absence of pot, it is like, if you see a cow and if you call it presence of cow, you are being right. And if you call it, you are seeing a cow, presence of cow, and you say, what are you seeing? Absence of a horse. Then you are doing kalpana. This is called splitting hair. People used to indulge in this kind of tarka. In Greece, this Socrates and Plato and what is his name? Aristotle. All this, it's called sophistry. In English there is a word called sophistry, means unavoidable intellectualism. Understand? Avoidable intellectualism is called sophistry. It is sophistry. And when the sophistry all sometimes looks sophisticated, कुछ भी नहीं है. That is why all the Greek philosophers called lotus eaters, hair splitters, lotus eaters. Why? They were all indulging in sophistry. When you see a mat, call it presence of mat. You are being wise. Instead of calling the presence of mat as presence of mat, you call it absence of pot. Non-pot. It happens to be a mat. Instead of calling mat a mat, you call it a non-pot. Instead of calling a cow, you call it a non-horse. That's called sophistry. Yes. And a person who calls it non-horse, he sounds more intellectual. Yes, Adi is called more intellectual. The one who calls a spade, he looks a commoner. Supposing you call the spade not a spade but spanner, you call spade the non-spanner. Not spade a spade, but call spade as a non-spanner. You sound intellectual. I'm giving you the clues how to pass an intellectual in this world. जी, उसका भी कुछ प्रसाद मिल जाता है. If you sound more intellectual in a club, you don't have to go and take food yourself. Somebody will bring food and give you in a plate. बड़ा विद्वान है, तो आप लेके आए, भोजन लेके आए. हाँ जी, ये दुनिया है जी, इस दुनिया को मैं समझता हूँ. आप लोग नहीं समझते हैं, आप लोग भोले हैं, मैं भोला नहीं. यस, मैं भोला नहीं, मैं बुरा भी नहीं. I understand this world. They don't want the truth. They want limelight. Understand? People want limelight, not light. Truth, Vedanta teaches light, not limelight. Vedanta doesn't teach limelight, it teaches light. If you want light, it is always available. If you want limelight, then you have to do a lot of therapy. Kim tarihi? When he says, sir, absence is not something that can be proved to be there. Then what is it? Bhava rupaha eva. In fact, what you call absence boils down to presence. Very tough topic, you have to cooperate with me to understand this. So here now you can fix up this one. You can just get the essence. Every thought of absence is an error about something present. Like snake is a thought about the rope. Snake is a wrong thought about the rope. Similarly, the thought of absence is an error about something present. Something present. Unless there is something present, you can't entertain the thought of absence. Supposing you have the idea of absence, I ask a question, absence of what? You say there is absence. Absence of what? You say the absence of my friend, but that friend is not absent, he is present somewhere. I miss my friend who is in America, but he is there. You can refer to his absence only when he is there. Supposing he is dead and gone, आराम से बैठना. Supposing he is dead and gone, then he is there unmanifestly present. If he was manifestly present, if he was alive, then he is present. Absence cannot take the body, ji. The absent cannot take the form. The absence cannot look at the whole universe. But the absence cannot experience the three states. Therefore, if your friend is in America, he is present. Even if he is dead and gone, he is still present in the unmanifest. And he will again manifest. He may not have the memory, but he is there. Even the memory is in the unmanifest state, but there is no mechanism to revive it, so it remains unmanifest. And therefore, the thought of absence is the principle you capture. The thought of absence is a sheer error about something present. This is the principle. Therefore, concluding that the universe is absent is a sheer error about the universe that is present. Atma is absent is a sheer error about the Atma that is ever present. God is absent is a sheer error about God is present. Even to feel God's absence, you must have an idea of God. ये बड़ा मुश्किल है. I ask a question, कौन सी भगवान नहीं है? ये आप कहते हैं कि भगवान नहीं है. कौन सी भगवान नहीं? वही है ना, वो अनंत भगवान, आनंद भगवान, गोविंद भगवान, सच्चिदानंद भगवान, प्रत्यगात्मा भगवान नहीं है. हे रामा. Therefore, this very indulgence in the thought of absence is Mahamaya. The very idea of absence is an error, please, about the presence. Bhahuti. Vedanta doesn't talk the language of absence at all. It says manifest presence of the creation, unmanifest presence of the creation, and the eternal presence of Brahma. We move from presence to presence, not from absence to presence. Move means education. I move from the manifest presence of the pot to the unmanifest presence of the pot. And from there I move to the eternal presence of the clay. Eternal means relatively eternal. Thus I am through with this principle. Next sentence. Can we go very fast in this topic? बताइए, can we go? कैसे जाएंगे? After repeating almost 10 times, you registered the 9th time. Then in fact, sometimes you miss all the 10 times. Then I asked you a question, but then Swamiji, you should have repeated the 11th time. Generally, we always register the 11th time and we get ready at the 11th hour. 11th hour जी 9 बार गाना है. हमको भी तृप्ति नहीं आती है unless I go on, unless I see that really you are, I see some light in your minds, you see, in your expressions. Because to convey even one small reality, if it is conveyed and understood, it's a growth. That absence is an error about the presence. If you can register it, you have covered a lot of distance on the path to knowledge. Yes. Therefore, this idea that I was not there before, the idea that I will not be there, is all an error about ever presence. It's an error. Next sentence. Evam, in this manner, ghatasya prak pradvamsa atyanta abhavanam api. Even the other three kinds of absence. One absence that we have dealt with is the mutual absence. But we have other three kinds of absence. The prior absence, the post absence and the total absence. They are also equally error about the present. That's all that he says here. If mutual absence is an error about the presence, then the other three kinds of absence is also an error about the presence. Namapi ghatad anyatvam syat. It is not the swarupam of the pot. Pot's prior absence is not its swarupam. Pot's post absence is not the swarupa of the pot. Pot's mutual absence is not its swarupam. And even if somebody were to call it as total absence, is also not its swarupam. Absence is not a part of the present. Absence can never be a part of what is present. Absence is a thought, an erroneous thought about what is present. You cannot see absence. You can only think absence in a wrong way. Whereas presence is a matter of experience. Presence is a matter of experience. Whereas absence is an error, an erroneous thought. Are you able to follow this? I can see the rope, but I can only imagine a snake in it. I can't see a snake. Even when you say, Swamiji, I am seeing a snake, actually you are not seeing snake, you are only seeing rope. But imagining it to be snake. And then saying, I am seeing snake. You can't see snake. And therefore, just as anyonya abhava is an error about what is present, pragabhava, pradvamsa bhava, atyanta bhava, all the three are only errors about the present. Tell me, is this not? If this is the principle, can't we extend it to the self? If my thought of absence about an object is an error, my thought about my own absence is also an error. That is called, once you appreciate the principle. In fact, even a plane is constructed only based on a principle. In fact, God runs this universe through a principle, yatha karma yatha shrutam. In fact, God's principle is the briefest and most comprehensive. He created the entire, He runs the show on the basis of one thing. Jaise karoge, waisa karoge, bas. That is the law. Baki aapka marzi ji, jo marzi kar lo. जो मर्जी कर लो, लेकिन जैसा करोगे वैसा भरोगे. नो कंपैशन. Is it an ordinary thing? My God. The moment you understand it, you don't have to, if you see and feel, you see for yourself how true is this law, then you will always be doing the right thing. You will not be creating problem for yourself. Yesterday there was I was just, now I am concluding, don't worry. There was Kaun Banega Karodpati. There was a Muslim boy that Bachchan said, Kismat kabhi kabhi apne aap banana padta hai. You can always think rightly and then leave it to Kismat. What a beautiful thought. Do the right thing that is in your hand. He says, मुझे तो quit नहीं करना है, मुझे तो हारने में कोई बात. Say, you came there only after taking such loan, Say, you must be wise. Not me. Taking a stand is not wisdom. Taking a fanatical stand is not wisdom. जैसे कहते हैं ना, a lot of people take stands as a matter of sham. You understand? आपको समझ में आता है हमारा भाषा? Lot of people take stand as a matter of shan. मैं तो quit नहीं करो. Is what? A matter of pride, shan. I say we need wisdom more than pride. We need wisdom more than shan. We need wisdom more than vanity. Yes, we need wisdom. If he had collected 25 lakhs and gone, he would have really helped his parents, made them happy in their old age. When God gives you something, it is for you to take it or leave. Bhagwan to de diya tha. Now you can't blame Bhagwan. Bhagwan ne diya tha. लक्ष्मी आया, आपने दरवाजा बंद कर दिया, हम क्या करेंगे? Yes, this manner, absence is not another reality. It is an error about what is present. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevadushyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Ji, 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 Hari Om Ji. Hari Om Ji, Hari Om Ji. Excuse me.